Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/GhillieMaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. There are over 30 vehicles and a few properties on sale this week for Black Friday in GTA Online, so in this video, I'm going to go through the ones you should take advantage of and the ones you should probably save your money on for the next update. Now, it goes without saying, if you don't even have enough money for one of these items, then you should probably save all of your money for the upcoming DLC and not purchase anything because the DLC is coming out in just a couple of weeks. But if you do happen to have some extra money laying around and you don't have things on this list, then you should go ahead and make the purchase. So let's not waste any more time and get into the items that are worth buying this week. Number 1, I'm going with the Hangar Property. Every hangar and their upgrades and renovations are 35% off. The hangar, with all the changes it's gotten over the years, is one of the best solo businesses in the entire game at this point. And it's also crucial for housing aircraft, which also help out with your grind within GTA Online. Personal aircraft are a huge factor there, and you're also going to need a hangar to own another vehicle that's on this list, so it's very important. For the location of the hangar that you buy, personally, I prefer an LSIA hangar as it lets you spawn your aircraft at the airport. And they're also just much cheaper in price in general, but to each their own, you buy the location that you prefer. My second pick for the Black Friday discounts is another property, the arcade at 30% off. The arcade allows you to do the casino heist, which in my opinion is the best heist in the whole game. And especially for this week, the casino heist will give you diamonds all the time, so the money you'll be making from it will be so much more than normal. You'll be able to very quickly make that money back that you spent on the property because of it. And for the location, any one aside from the Paleto Bay arcade should suffice. Do not buy the Paleto Bay location. You will regret it all the time because every time you do the finale, you'll have to drive all the way to the casino from Paleto, and that's just a nuisance. Coming in at number 3, it's the Raiju Jet at 30% off. Not only is the Raiju Jet one of the most expensive jets in the game, making the 30% discount that much more impactful, but it's arguably the best form of transportation in the entire game also. In terms of speed, it is the fastest form of transportation. Objectively, it's the fastest jet, and its VTOL capabilities allow for easy landing and maneuvering for various types of grinding. Especially for the hangar business, the Raiju and the hangar business go hand in hand. And if you're into PvP, well, the Raiju is also one of the best vehicles for dogfighting in PvP, so you really can't go wrong with this purchase. It has so many upsides and zero downsides. Up next, I recommend the Toreador at a massive 50% discount. The Deluxo and Stromberg are also half off this week. However, I decided to just put the Toreador here because the Toreador is just an upgraded Stromberg. If you own a Toreador, there is zero reason to own a Stromberg. And the Deluxo post-railgun just doesn't fit in the meta anymore, sadly. I think the Toreador is just a far more worthwhile purchase. And an added bonus, the Toreador makes boats entirely useless, so that new Heist Challenge award will be absolutely outclassed by it come December 10th. And it eats Mark II oppressors for dinner. It's one of the strongest vehicles Rockstar has added to the game in the past 4 years. The Itali GTO Stinger TT also has to make the list here. Out of all the regular vehicles on sale, I had to put this one on because the Itali GTO Stinger TT isn't just a normal sports car, it's also an mindset car, and it's also an HSW car. In fact, it's one of the fastest cars in the entire game, if not the fastest. I'm not sure if anything overtook it, but I know it was the fastest car in the entire game. The only downside to it is really its handling. It doesn't handle very well, especially when it's going that fast, but then again, what car does? But for a free mode vehicle, it's very good because it's fast, and those Mark II Oppressor cockmunchers won't be able to lock onto you with a money tech, and if they do hit you, well, you got armor to back it up too. So it's just got multiple uses within GTA Online. For my 6th pick here, I'm going with the Oppressor Mk. If you are in a situation where the Mark II Oppressor is way out of reach, if it's way too expensive for you, getting the Mk. Oppressor for just over $1 million with its 50% discount is a steal because it can almost do as much as the Mark II Oppressor can. It's a flying bike that can spawn next to you. It can do everything aside from just flying directly over the water because it has to come down eventually. But everything else, it can do basically the same thing the Mark II Oppressor can, just slightly less effective because it's not as fast. But it's also a fraction of the price, so you're getting that advantage too. Although you do have to do research in the bunker to unlock its full potential with the missiles, but even as a form of transportation that can spawn next to you without missiles, it's worth it at that price. And for my final pick for things worth buying for Black Friday, it's the Hakuchou Drag, specifically if you're on next gen. Because if you are on next gen, and also PC should be getting this soon too next year, you have access to HSW, and the Hakuchou Drag with HSW is one of the quickest land vehicles in the entire game. It's very good for speedrunning. And for a bike, it is on the more expensive side, but out of the other vehicles on this list, it is the cheapest one. That's why I have it as my last pick. I think it's more worth it to buy the other ones that I listed before this, before you go and buy the Hakuchou Drag. But now I want to get into the things that you should avoid buying even with these discounts that they have. And the first one is the Galaxy Super Yacht. We've talked a lot about how useless boats are in GT Online. Well, the yacht is just one big fucking boat. It's got a little bit more uses than a regular boat, but not much. It's just not worth buying unless you have everything else in the game already. The yacht is a very low priority purchase. Alright, this one should be very obvious. The Luxor and Swift Deluxe. They always have these on sale for Black Friday every year, and they are the most overpriced pieces of shit that you can buy. They are just meme vehicles that you can't even go passive in because you can drink wine in the back, I guess. That's the reason for it. Do not buy them. They are worthless. Now, I sadly have to bring up this vehicle again, even though it pains me every time I talk about it because of the potential that it had, but Rockstar unfortunately fumbled the bag with it. The weaponized Kanata, even with its 50% discount, it's just not worth it. There are way better options for helicopters. The Sparrow, even, from the submarine, can spawn next to you and has more armor and countermeasures, and arguably better firepower as well. The weaponized Kanata is just bad objectively. Stay away from it until they buff it, which likely will never happen, unfortunately. This vehicle I've always said was overpriced, even when they made it available initially, the P996 Laser. And this was before the nerf when I said it wasn't worth it. But now that the cannons are nerfed in free mode, it's just objectively a bad purchase for its price. Even with the Black Friday discount, you're better off getting the Raiju. It's literally better in every aspect, and it's only $1 million or so more expensive with the discount. It's slower and doesn't have any armor like the Raiju does. At least the Raiju can take a few hits. And even though none of them have countermeasures, at least the Raiju has stealth mode. But my final pick for the worst purchase for Black Friday is the Salvage Yard property. In terms of a money-making business, I don't think the Salvage Yard is that good. In fact, you can only earn $1 million a week with the main part of the business, which is stealing the cars, the car robberies. Whereas, if you compare it to something like the casino heist with the arcade business, you are earning like 3 times that in a couple of hours with the current Diamonds event. So because of it being one of the less lucrative businesses, I have to put it on the not worth it list here today. But even compared to things like the Laser or the Luxor Deluxe, some other things on this list, it's still way more worth it than those, which is why it's on my last option here. Now at the end, for some honorable mentions, I consider these to be more of like a luxury purchase, but are still good if you get them on sale. For example, the BR8 is 25% off. I think that is worth it. However, it's only really useful if you do open wheel races, which not a lot of people do, so it's very niche. The Progen Emirates at 30% off also falls into this boat. It is one of the better supercars for racing, and you might actually get more use out of this than the BR8 because I think more people do supercar races like stunt races as opposed to open wheel races. And lastly, the Avenger at 40% off. The Avenger is kind of a weird one. It's a cool vehicle, but it is bugged sometimes to where it blows up in one rocket, so it's hard to recommend using it consistently, even in PvP. It is fun to use, but very inconsistent, and in terms of making money with it, you do get access to those missions that will eventually unlock you the Raiju trade price, but it's not that good for making money. Anyways, those are my picks for the best and worst purchases during the Black Friday event in GTA Online. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with my takes down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all of my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.